Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, then coming up on the screen now are the links to our social media, including our Teespring account, where you can buy shirts and other merchandise to help support the channel and show how much you're enjoying it. And today I'm back at the board, so that must mean it's time for another episode of Lawrie Goes a Little Loco. If you cast your minds way back to when I went and did the Tinkers Park Open Day, you'll remember that I bought a locomotive. And this locomotive has sat in its box ever since. That is, until today. And it was this. It was a Lima Class 37, which was for sale for £20, and I think I ended up buying it for £15. It wasn't a lot of money. It was cheap enough for me to be able to say, I can't afford to say no. And this one has been modified. It's got various little bits on it. So we'll start off by having a look at the box, which is in pretty good nick. I mean, we have some tearing going on here and on the back. There's some signs that has been stored, and the packing is showing, the paint's coming off slightly, and you can see the cardboard running through. In actual fact though, it's not too bad. The cellophane is loose, so it wouldn't actually protect the model too much. I've always kind of liked the simplicity of a Lima box, and I also like on the back knowing that I've got the steam engine in storage somewhere. It's quite nice, and it just has various instructions on the side of it, mostly in Italian, and it's not suitable for children under 3, it says. Now, this one is a Class 37, which is a British Railways English Electric Type 3, and the prototype, the first Class 37, entered service towards the end of 1960, and they're still going strong on their network today. Admittedly, they are slightly different these days, that we're running 37/9, which is one of the many variations of the class, which have a different power plant and a lot more ballast, making them, giving them more traction so they can pull bigger and heavier trains, because despite the size of Class 37, it's got a relatively light axle loading, which is one of the reasons they've been so popular and lasted for so long. And I like to regard the Class 37 as something of a gateway drug into diesels. For I started off being a massive steam fanatic. And then slowly but surely, I learnt more about diesels, and it's Class 37s is where my love for diesels really started, because they're fantastic. They make an amazing noise, and they're kind of the locomotive that steam fanatics will go, oh yeah, 37s are cool. And from there it grows and you find other diesels that are cool until you end up buying yourself a small diesel shunter. So 37s are part of that. And 37s are definitely cool. And they're called tractors because they sound good. So with that, let's open this up and see what this. Now, I have legitimately not had this out of the box since I bought it. There's every opportunity and every chance that this will not run. This will be a very disappointing video. So with that, I'll slide that there and put the box there. I mean, so far, I'm pretty happy with this. It looks very smart, doesn't it, for the money? So we'll just tip it out of its polystyrene. Gently tip it out. Come on, out you come. Well, there we go. So immediately the first things we notice with this one is that it's had radio antennas and it kind of added at both ends, and that I'm missing the horns. The horns do not appear to be there, which is a shame. There's the moulding for horns, so I have to get some more air horns to stick on top of it. Apart from that, it's quite nice. I like the rail freight livery that it's in, and I rather suspect it may be a repaint, but I'm not entirely sure. So I do like a 37, and that's quite nice. The only other 37 I actually have is this one, which is the trying version. And my days, the detail has moved on a lot in the intervening years. Now, these are obviously two locomotives built by rival companies. Hornby, who were Trying, so Trying then bought out Hornby at this stage, and then took on the Hornby name, have now bought out Lima. So it's more likely that we'll be having the Lima moulding of this, or a new moulding. Now, obviously they look very similar because, yes, they are the same locomotive, but the detail has moved on. Everything on this one is a lot more refined. The roof detail is a lot more, a lot more detailed, and there is more of it. The fan in the top here is also a lot more detailed, and you can see the fan blades underneath rather than just a grille. I mean, that was still quite good at the time for this one. Yeah, it is quite good, and the underside looks, well, about it. And obviously the front end is different. This one has the old head code style front end, whereas this has got the kind of more known, more common headlight front end. And of course, this one has got little, what I really like, it's got the little snow ploughs on the front for working up in Scotland. In fact, I think it says on the side it's got the Highland badge. Yeah, Highland Rail. So it's a Scottish one. So that's quite cool. And this one has got, I mean, this isn't a light model, this is quite chunky, or at least the motor bogie is, the rest of it's really light. This one's got some real weight to it. This is a significantly heavier model. And they look quite good, don't they? I do like the rail freight grey livery, and I like the yellow front ends. It does look rather smart, and it does kind of show how basic this one is. I am really disappointed by the fact the horns are missing off it, but it has plenty of other bits of detail to make up for it. We've got the vac pipes, the air lines, and the connection there, the electrical connection for working multiple units together. There's a really nice piece of detail to have on the front of it. I'm not sure if that came from factory from Lima or if that's been added to it. I rather suspect that's been added, as the front coupling has also been removed to make room for these things. That's quite cool. It's also nice to go and see something where you can really see the evolution of it, how it came along. Obviously, this is the livery in which the 37s first appeared in, and this is much later in their career. 37s have worn a massive variety of liveries throughout their operational career because they've just been around that long. You know, they've sat through the British Railways into the corporate blue, the large logo, privatisation, EWS used them, and then DB still uses them. There's used by Direct Rail Services are still using them. They're still out and about on the network, which is wonderful. And as a railway enthusiast, if I'm out somewhere and you hear the unmistakable telltale noise, it's a sign for getting excited. You go, oh, tractor. And it's one of the few things that I will be kind of tempted to go and see diesel-wise. Like, if I'm at a railway, I'll go look at the diesels, but I don't often travel for things like diesel galas. 37s, however, yeah, 37s are cool, as you get the exhaust roaring out of here. And it's one of those videos that appear all over social media, and you just can't help but watch an aggressive start in a Class 37. What I do like as well with this is we've got the little moulds in the windscreen here for the windscreen wipers, which are something that's lacking from this one. Also, the glazing is much more securely fitted in there. This one, it's kind of pushed back from the window supports, whereas that one just looks a far more complete model. I mean, we are now comparing things of totally different generations of model making, but it's still nice to be able to see how far we've come. As well, the detail on the bogies is far superior. We have way more detail on the modern bogies, as one would expect, than we do on the older one. But all of this is kind of insignificant compared to the idea of actually taking it for a run. I can't believe how much heavier this is. That is a proper locomotive, and it's got such lovely details on it. Like, we've got the electrification warnings on the front there, all the lovely riveting around the headlights and the plug-in sockets, front opening doors. It's all just stuff that's missing on this. Again, much older model. It's almost unfair to compare them. And also how things have evolved, how the grille is modelled and moulded on this is far more kind of obvious than this. It's a lot more subtle on the side of this one. This one does look, because it rattles as well, the way that the motor connects to the chassis and the body connects to the chassis means it rattles, whereas this is a far more sturdy and proper looking thing. It's still quite impressive the amount of detail the old one had, but this has got way more grills on the side for the ventilation. It's got more windows. It all looks a lot more impressive. And I'm fairly confident this will run, to be honest, because it's a Lima. And Lima stuff is basically built like tanks. Their modelling and the detail of them compared to Hornby of the time wasn't so good. But generally it was accepted that the motors just kept on going, the pancake motor, and they just ran particularly well. So, with that thing looked at, what we're going to do is find out just how much more powerful that is compared to this, and then we'll just see what the running characteristics are like between the two, and just run in my new locomotive. This, I think, was the first locomotive I purchased for a very long time. Since, in fact, starting the channel, this is the first thing that I've actually purchased, and so it'll be quite nice to actually see how it runs, because everything else that's appeared so far on the channel has either been I bought a long time ago when it was in storage, or has been sent to me. So that's my first purchase. Let's see if I've made a good one, shall we? So with my plateau tied away, we have the basic oval set up. And the first thing to do is to get the old Class 37 out, put it onto the rails, and we're just going to give it a test run, and we're going to just get a baseline on performance of what this thing will do. And we're using the Backman controller here as well. Okay. So it's noisy. Let's be honest, it's quite noisy. But this is like 60 or 70-year-old model now. It's almost as old as the Class 37 itself. And you know what? Performance is absolutely superb for a model of this age. I mean, that's brilliant, isn't it? Really? And away he goes. He said after it's stored. There we go. Really, I think for a model of its age, we cannot complain about that. It works quite well. And again, from a distance, that's a totally acceptable locomotive. Oh, it's not so happy in reverse. Perhaps it could do with another service. No, we'll park it here. And now we'll connect up my little Newton meter here, and we'll have a gander at just how much it will pull. I am honestly not sure. It's quite heavy, and the traction is on the correct end for pulling, so let's do that, and away we go. Oh, come on. So it is pulling about 80 grams at max there. 80 grams is what it was pulling. So about an eighth of a Newton. Uncouple that. So, okay, that's not bad. Let's put that over there, and we'll try bring this one out. Hide you away. Now, like I said, I've not actually tested this yet. This will be the first run it's had, and the first locomotive that I have bought for quite some time. So let's see whether or not it works. Now, you guys, time for you to post your comments and let me know, is it going to work or not? So pause the video, let me know. And with that, oh, there was life. And away it goes with a typical Lima scream. Oh, look at that go. Oh, well, at least I bought a working locomotive. I'm quite happy with that. It sounds just like a Lima. It already, the little bits of extra detail on this just make it look like a far more substantial and a far better model than the trying equivalent. I know, again, it's unfair to compare something that old to something that's this much younger. I don't actually know when Lima started making this, but it just feels like a newer model, and obviously Lima came onto the market after Hornby Trying did. Oh, that sounds great. Let's see what we can get out of a crawl out of it. Well, that's okay. That's pretty good. Yeah, but I mean, maybe a service will improve matters on this. It runs relatively smoothly in both directions. I mean, we really can't complain. I don't know what that is. Piece of rubbish. Yeah, I don't think there's any complaints at all. Fresh out of the box. Goodbye, Lawrie. Well done, thee. Pretty sure these buffers are aftermarket as well. They look different. Not a sprung though. Not a sprung, but definitely aftermarket. So we'll get out this again. Make sure it's set to 0. Only the best you see for LMM. Hook that up. Hold that on there. And away we go. Oh, and this one can pull a mighty. Oh, it peaks. It's got a bit of a shake on it, but it peaks at 120 grams of pulling power. So that's 1.2 newtons. So that's exciting, isn't it? That's very exciting. Mighty little thing. Yeah, whether or not this actually is true, but it gives us some scale that this one is notably more powerful than that one. And it is performance better. Oh, I'm quite happy with that. I do love a 37. I love the snowplows on this. The whole look of this, just big yellow ends. I've always preferred BR livery, but I do love large logo. I just about remember this kind of seeing stuff with in the Freightliner or rail freight livery. Obviously, I remember it with containers and stuff. So these are actually Lima wagons that I've got here. So we're going to connect up the Lima wagons and put it onto something that's kind of semi-appropriate, like so. And away it goes, purring away. Now, I'm quite happy with that, really. Look at that go. That is a really, really nice little model. I really can't complain about that at all. What a absolutely superb thing. And it does look quite nice with the container wagons, doesn't it? This is about as close to what I can model at the moment to get that I get near me. Now, I'm sure that this will get better if I give it a service, although it's not particularly high on my list of needing a service at the moment because it seems to run relatively well. Well, that's quite good. I mean, it will be, you know, preventative maintenance. It's a bit of a slowdown there. Maybe the wheels just could do the clean up, all the pickups need cleaning. But it is very nice. Must be honest, slightly disappointed that the lights don't work on it. I thought that kind of, I was holding out maybe hope that I'd have working headlights. But all things considered, pretty happy. So there we go. Give it a bit more oomph as it flies around the line. Oh, look at it. It definitely, yeah, definitely a bit of slowing down and speeding up on it, but still captures the kind of majesty of a 37 at doing its thing. Very happy. So thank you very much, guys, for selling me this lovely little thing. I'm very happy with it. Isn't that great? The only thing we will do is, if I pop this off, oops, pop these off, we'll just see what the difference is in speed and performance between this one and this one. If we put them on the line at the same time, just what the difference is. Oh, and the answer is not all that much. I just kind of run together about the same speed, which does give me an idea to end this video. Let's just give it a double header. That's the obvious thing to do, isn't it? 2 wagons, 2 37s. I mean, this is the obvious way to do this, and I guess all of you guys knew this was coming, because why not? 2 locomotives, put that on there, put that there. We'll just cover up the nasty pivots on these wagons and just make them look a bit strange by having them hovering in the middle. There we go. Right, set on the track. Nope. Right, away we go then. Yep. 2 37s, 2 wagons. Definitely prototypical train. I mean, I suppose we can pretend that one of them's failed and the other one's come to rescue it. Heritage locomotive failed, so they had to send another Heritage locomotive to go pick it up. Something like that. Don't know, haven't got that far yet. Interesting, isn't it, that despite being many years apart and being completely different mechanisms, generations, companies and everything, on a modern controller they're taking more or less the same amount of power. Well, actually I imagine that's drawing a lot more amps, but they're running at a very similar speed, that one's not pushing or pulling the other one more than the other. They keep kind of, one catches up and pushes, and then successful double header. I think successful double header. I'm actually really happy with that. That's quite nice, isn't it? Look at it go. I'm just going to be amused by this for the next several hours, I think, just watching a pair of 37s trundling around together. They are stunningly pretty diesels. They're so utilitarian and so gives such a sense of power. I like it very much. And with that, guys, I'm just going to sit and play trains. So thank you again for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if you like 37s, or if you think there's a class of diesel which is superior, or you like more, or if there's another diesel that you think got you into the hobby. Let me know how you got into the hobby and what your favourite is. With that, thanks for watching. Give us a like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, if you've enjoyed this, how about clicking over there for another episode of Lawrie Goes a Little Loco, or perhaps click over here for another one of Lawrie Goes Loco, the review on the real railway. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. I bought a working thing. I got a working thing.